Yeah, so when we feel really empty and we've been in a survival state for a really long time as well, it's also a sign that we're in a freeze. So that's a trauma response. And freeze, we've got fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. But freeze is a very common trauma response, and it's a sign that we've also been in survival mode for a really long time. And as we go into freeze, we just feel empty or we feel numb. And that's also a trauma response that we have to get into. So as we get more connected, as you become more connected to yourself, we start to feel again. We lose that emptiness, and we also start to feel more present, and we start to feel less numb. Yeah, so we feel empty inside when we've abandoned ourselves. Okay, so this is coming back to that authenticity again, but we self-abandon consistently over a long period of time, and then we lose touch with who we truly are. And so there's this emptiness. We feel so empty inside. And as we just reconnect to ourselves, we start to feel more joy, we start to feel more like ourselves. But that emptiness is that hollowness, that void is just, there's so much sadness and so much grief in there as well. So emptiness is about a disconnection from our true self, but then also the layers and layers and layers of trauma underneath, which is all that sadness, all that anger, sadness, and just not being connected to our true self. Yeah, so authenticity means your true self, who you truly are on the inside. We all have an authentic self, who we truly are, but through trauma, we disconnect from that. So we become disconnected from our true self. And so a lot of people come to me and say, I don't know who I am. Who am I? And I get it, but that's because you've experienced trauma. So if you don't know who you are, who your true self is, that's because you've been disconnected from your authentic self. And so as we work together, we start to tap into who you authentically are underneath all those layers of trauma, because they weren't loved for who they were. They got a clear message when they were a small child. I can't be my true self. I have to disconnect from that. So what happens is people become chameleons. A lot of people come to me and say, I'm a chameleon. I just mold myself to what other people want me to be. But when we do that, when we become a chameleon, we are actually disconnecting from our true self. And what I will say about that too is, as we start to connect to who we truly are authentically, we will never, ever give that up for anybody ever again. Once we find it, we'll never give that up.